everybody, this is Dave here at Pulp Alley, and today we are talking about the Pulp Alley tabletop game. We are specifically talking about how to play. So, for today's video, we're going to cover a lot of ground, a lot of cool stuff. We're going to be going from page 57 all the way to page 72. So we're going to talk about dodging, we're going to talk about fighting, we're going to talk about brawling and shootouts, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about bursts as well. So a lot of ground to cover. Hey, before we get too much further, will you take a moment and make sure you are subscribed to our little channel? Also make sure you hit the like button and the bell. Let's get into this. So dodging is one of the basic things that you could do in the game. Not only can you dodge perils, but you can also dodge during a fight. Let's say number 2 here is shooting at Roswell. Well, Roswell, being an animal that she is, does not have a ranged weapon to shoot back with. So that means she's going to have to roll to dodge. So let's see. Number 2 is going to get an extra dice. She normally rolls 4d8. Extra dice is going to get her up to 5d8. And let's just see how we roll. So 5d8. And we have 3 7s. Oh my gosh, Roswell is in trouble. 3 7s and a 6. Now, when we look at Roswell's card here, we can see that she has a dodge of 4d8. So we're going to roll that. 4d8. Oh my gosh. Come on, Roz. You can do it. That is really bad. Now, although Roz rolled a 4, that is not high enough to block or to evade or to dodge any of number 4's dice. And that means Roswell is going to get hit 4 times and will have to roll a 4 dice health check. Oh my goodness. That did not go well for Roz. Now, to pass this health check, all of her dice have to be a 4 or better. And look at that. It did not work. And that means Roswell is injured. Now, I want to show you how a shootout is resolved between 2 characters. Now, what if the Raven Squadron had control of the initiative and they decided to activate Raven next? Her nearest enemy is Phantom Ace, so she's going to shoot at him. We look at her card and we see that she's a pretty good shooter with a 4d10. Phantom Ace also has 4d10 in shooting. Look there on his card. Now, both of them are going to get an extra dice because they are at short range. So look at your combat modifiers. So Raven will be rolling 5d10, and Phantom Ace will also be rolling 5d10. Now, watch how this goes. Remember, a fight is a fight. So as soon as Raven turns to fire at Phantom Ace, he has the option. He could choose to dodge, be evasive, try to avoid getting hit, or he can counterattack, and that means shooting back immediately. Let's take a look at how this rolls out. 5d10 versus 5d10. Raven rolls, and she gets 2 7s and an 8. That's a pretty good roll. Not bad. She got 3 successes. We could toss those misses out, and then Phantom Ace shoots back, and he got a 6 and a 7. Not as good of a roll. Now, this is part of the fun that you have with Pulp Alley. You don't just roll the dice and cross-reference it on a chart or look it up on a table to find out what happened. In Pulp Alley, you get to roll the dice, and then you get to decide what happens based on what you rolled and what your opponent rolled. So let's take a look at these dice again. So we're going to say she uses her 8 to stop his 7. Those dice are both gone now. She uses her 7 to stop his 6, and that leaves her with 1 success left, and he has to roll a 1 dice health check. He's got to get a 4 or better on his D10, and he does. So he was not injured. So the Raven Squadron decides to keep up the pressure, and they're going to activate number 21 here in the back of the truck. Now, she normally rolls 2 dice 6 to shoot with, and she's going to be shooting at Gage. And Gage has to decide how she's going to reply. She has 2 die 6 in shoot or 3 die 8 in dodge. What would you do here? What would you do? So we know 21's rolling 2 die 6. She's also going to get that extra dice for the short range bonus, but Gage decides to press her luck here, and she's going to shoot back. So she'd normally have 2 dice, and she'll have an extra dice for the short range as well. So here's another fight where both of the characters are throwing lead back and forth at each other. Either one of them could be injured. The active character, when you attack somebody, you are taking a risk. Let's see how this goes. We'll just roll for the active character first. Let's see how 21 does. Gets a 4. Now let's roll for Gage. We can take that 3 out of there. Gage got 2 6s. 21 got a 4. Now look at this. 21 cannot use her 4 to block either one of Gage's dice because a 4 is not big enough to stop a 6. And that means this becomes a take-em-all situation. That means 21 will have to roll a 2 dice health check, and Gage will have to roll a 1 dice health check. Gage has a health of D8, so she will be using a D8 to roll her health check. And we'll roll for the active character first. Let's see how 21 does. All right, look at this. She passed with 1 dice, but she failed with the other dice. Now, since she is in the back of that truck, we would say that she is in cover. And that means she gets to re-roll 1 of her dice. And let's see if she passes it. She does not pass, and that means she is injured, and that would put her down because she is a level 2 character. But Gage also has to roll a health check. Let's see if she can pass. She needs a 4 or better, and she passes it. So not only did the active character in that attack, they initiated the attack. Gage could have chose to dodge, but instead she went on counterattack and was actually able to put down the attacker. One of the ways that you become the director in Pulp Alley is by clearly winning a fight, and that means that you injure an enemy during a fight without suffering an injury. Even though Gage was hit, she was not injured, and that means that the Phantom Agents would now become the director. And as the director, they could force the Raven Squadron to activate the last character that they have available, or they could start activating. You know what? For this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and activate one of the Phantom Agents. Gosh, let's go with Roswell. Let's just see what happens here. So Roswell activates, and she's going to rush at number 2. Roswell is injured. So when she rushes, you could see how close they are here. It looks like it's only about 1.5 inches or so. So when Roswell rushes, number 2 has a choice here. Now, would number 2 choose to brawl, or would she choose to dodge? And these are both level 3 characters, so that's going to be a tough fight. Roswell would normally roll 5d8. However, she has been in a fight, and that means she's going to lose 1 of her dice. She is also injured right now, and that means she would roll 4 die 6. Number 2 has a brawl of 3 die 8. Roswell was too close for number 2 to be able to shoot. She could try to brawl with 3 die 8, but she has been in a fight, and that means she'd only have 2 die 8 because of the multiple fights penalty. However, remember that the multiple fights penalty does not apply to dodge. So if she chose to dodge, she would get to roll 3 die 8. What would you do? Do you want to try and finish off Roswell? You know, Roswell's injured. If number 2 If number two can score another hit and Roz fails her health check, number two could put her down. The worst thing that could happen to number two in this fight is that she gets injured. So I think it's worth taking the risk. So she's going to try to brawl here. She'll be brawling with 2 die 8. Roz is attacking with 4 die 6. We're going to roll for the active character first. Roswell, 4 die 6. 3 6s. That was a heck of a hit right there. We'll toss that 3 out. She got 3 successes, and they are all 6s. Now number 2 attacks. And she got a 5 and a 4. Now, let's think about the situation here again. You have a lot of decisions that you can make in this fight. Roswell, because she is the active character, she has control of the matching or the blocking. You don't have to block anything. You could just say, let's just take them all. And that means Roswell would have to roll a 2 dice health check, and number 2 would have to roll a 3 dice health check. Or Roswell could take out 2 of number 2's hits, and that means 1 hit is left, and that means number 2 would have to roll the dice. You know, I think that's the better move to do because Roswell is already injured. I don't think taking that risk of taking another hit is worth it. So she's going to use her 6 to block the 5. She's going to use her 6 to block the 4, and that leaves 1 success left. And that means number 2 will have to roll a 1 dice health check, need a 4 or better, and she passes it. So neither of them were injured there. And that means the Phantom Agents also maintain control of the initiative. So now we have to look at this situation again and decide, do we want to make the Raven Squadron activate their last character, or do we want the Phantom Agents to go? So let's say for whatever reason the Phantom Agents decide to make the Raven Squadron activate their last character, and that means number 24 back here is going to have to activate. That's the only ready character that they have left. What she's going to do is place a burst. We look at old number 24's card here, and you can see that her ability is called Burst Fire. And that means she could place a 3-inch burst within 12 inches. And where she's going to place it is right here where she could catch both of those characters in a burst. So an interesting thing about a burst, a few things, I guess. A burst does not start a fight. It simply creates a peril for each of the characters that were touched by it. So it's definitely more of a spray and pray sort of idea where they're just throwing some shots out there and hoping that she hits something. What it does is you flip over the top card of the fortune deck, and at the bottom of the card it has a challenge on there, and that tells you what those characters will have to roll. In this case, they're going to have to roll 2 successes with finesse or cunning. You draw 1 challenge if it hits multiple characters, and each of the characters will have to roll for that challenge. So we'll take a look at Gage. She's going to be using her cunning to avoid that. She's got 4 die 8, so that's what she's going to roll. 4 die 8, and she needs to get 2 of these, have to be a 4 or better. She just barely makes it, and she's okay. But what about Phantom Ace? Phantom Ace has 3 die 10 in finesse, so he will be using his finesse to luck his way out of it. He needs 2 of these to be a success. He also passes it. So although number 24 throws a burst in their direction, they are not hit by it. That's a lot of ground covered there. If you have questions about anything that we went over today, be sure and leave a comment down below. Get subscribed to our little channel, hit the like button and the bell, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye, everybody.